This video has been made with the help of Envato Elements. Let's be honest here, it's really not surprising that Attack on Titan is as popular as it is. Aside from its exhilarating storyline and its breathtaking animation, this anime is also filled with many fundamental questions in moral philosophy. From the concept of euthanasia, oppression and war, all the way to controversial views on freedom, hope and justice. And so, it's no wonder then that the web is filled with theories and discussions on the various moral dilemmas that characters like Eren Yeager bring with them. Which is also why, today, I'll be presenting to you the top 3 darkest life lessons to be found within the show. Life lessons that are crucial for someone to learn, but also lessons that are, at times, so dark that the naive child inside of us refuses to accept them as real. Because they truly are the darkest lessons Attack on Titan has to offer.
Every day I've spent here, I've wondered, how did all these people let it come to this? Minds and bodies ruined, dreams of freedom erased, personalities burned away. No one would want to go to war if they knew what it would do to them.
I think one of the darkest and most important life lessons in all of Attack on Titan is its accurate portrayal of war, and more specifically, of how war has dire and disastrous effects. And yes, I'm aware that war is sometimes necessary and sometimes even the right thing to do. I mean, if a country is enslaving its people and transporting them to concentration camps and nothing short of military action will stop them, then war may truly be the only way to save them. But that being said, it doesn't change the fact that, in war, everyone loses. There is no actual winning side, because no matter what the outcome, the path towards it was paved with blood and misery. A massive tragedy that should have always been avoided. But Attack on Titan takes this aspect even further by addressing how war influences even the smallest of things, like the life of a small child. Of how it robs them of their parents and then fills the hole in their heart with the feelings of hatred and revenge. Of how these same children, be it Eren, Reiner or Gabi, will grow to hate the world and vow revenge onto the ones that made them suffer. Of how even small, innocent children can fall victim to the cycle of hatred. So do watch out. Don't let yourself fall for the lie that is a necessity for war. Because most times, war, violence and hatred, they can all be avoided. And if you're wondering, no, pacifism is not the answer either. Because idly standing by and watching atrocities take place is never an option. But rather, you have to be strong and confident, refuse to back down when you know something is wrong, and threaten physical action when needed. Hopefully that alone will deter evil from prevailing. But if it doesn't, and if you have to opt for war, at least do your best to make it swift and painless. Don't revel in it. Don't celebrate any moment of it. Realize that it's a tragedy and that it should have been avoided. Realize that you have already failed.
Come, I've discovered the truth. Our ancestor Ymir awakened the power of the Titans and used it to tame the wilderness, carve out roads, and to make bridges to span the mountains. She didn't oppress other people, she helped them to prosper.
So the history we were taught as children was just a hoax, Marleyan propaganda.
Have you ever wondered how much of what's written in the history books actually happened? Of how many crucial details may have been lost to time? I mean, how could you ever truly know? It's not like you were there all those centuries ago to now tell what happened. You can only rely on faith that over hundreds and thousands of years of war and conflict, we were able to perfectly preserve the information of all that occurred, and that we then passed it down without any bias of our own. Yeah, it's quite a lot to expect from humanity, isn't it? We are too flawed and personally driven to ever achieve anything close to that. And so the question remains, who decided then what exactly gets passed down? Well, quite simple really. Whoever currently possessed enough power to do so. And of course, they would have never allowed any critical text to make the cut. You just have to take a look at how Mao Zedong was portrayed to his people in China less than 100 years ago. He was worshipped as an infallible hero, while his policies led to tens of millions of people starving to death. And here is also where we can make a good comparison to King Fritz and how he erased the memories of all Eldians, making them forget everything about the outside world, and then using their ignorance and their fear to control them like sheep. And while in the real world, a mass deletion of all our memories is incredibly unlikely, a mass attempt at brainwashing us into becoming well-behaved little soldiers and never question any authority is definitely possible and arguably even currently ongoing. So watch out when someone tells you anything definitive about something they cannot know. Be wary and question any authority that tells you that history is whatever they say it is. There is no way they can truly know. So think for yourself and think critically.
Why don't we just talk to them? If we fix the world's misconceptions about us, threats won't be needed.
Come again? What misconceptions do they have?
You know how they think we're scary monsters.
They think that because we can transform into man-eating titans. That's no misconception.
This last lesson is, in my opinion, the darkest of them all, because it's the one lesson that most of us refuse to accept, but also the one that is most crucial for us to finally learn. And that's the following. We are all capable of the worst things humans have ever done. And don't ever think you're somehow special. Eren, Reiner, and Gabby, they all have one thing in common. They were hurt by the world, and so they vowed revenge upon it. They knew how much suffering they endured, and still, they then chose to inflict that same pain onto others. And why? Well, because they're human, that's why. They all had the seeds within them that would eventually lead them to horrible and unspeakable things. And the best example of that is probably Eren. He, like all other humans who are obsessed with something, no matter what it is, was ready to do gruesome things in order to keep that dream alive. Even he, as the main character, would fall victim to his own obsession over freedom and end up killing millions of innocent people. So watch out. You too could end up doing the horrible things the Nazis and the Soviets did back in the day. You too could betray your own self and do things you never thought you were capable of. You too could easily end up making excuses and saying that all you did was your job. And if you think you're as far away from that as possible, you may not be. Because all you really need for it is an obsession, the excuse that you're in the right, and the indoctrinated belief that the others are somehow below you. And again, stop thinking that you're special, that it won't happen to you. Most of us didn't see Eren turning into what he became. But the truth is that the seeds for it had always been there already. Before you go, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Envato Elements. If you're really interested in editing and making videos like mine, there's a link in the description for 50% off annual subscriptions. But what even is Envato Elements? It's an unlimited subscription service for digital assets. They offer everything from stock footage, sound effects, music, photos, graphics, fonts, and even video templates like the ones you see on screen right now. And with over 56 million assets and unlimited downloads, you cannot imagine how much time I've spent going through their vast and extensive library. I would really suggest to everyone who's interested in creating videos like mine, or if you make your own videos, music and more, to go check them out in the description. It's an incredibly cheap service with amazing quality assets, and I'm incredibly glad to be working with them. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to subscribe and check out one of my previous videos right here. This channel is all about digging deeper into the meaning of life and how we can get there through video games, movies and TV shows. So if that interests you, make sure to subscribe and share it with the people you love. See ya!